For more on the investigation, I want to bring in Lindsey Moran. Lindsey is a former CIA operative and author of the book Blowing My Cover, My Life as a CIA Spy. Lindsey, you say that this investigation is unlike any that you've seen, the way it's playing out in real time in the public. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think traditionally we have an attack occur, and then the subsequent investigation is really kept very secret. And we've seen this play out in real time with a lot of information that normally wouldn't be available to the public, numerous potential leaks resulting in the UK actually saying that they were for a while no longer going to share intelligence with the United States. And that was, I think, one of the most troubling aspects of the investigation. I think that was a warning sign to the US that this is very serious. For us to lose that intelligence sharing relationship that we have with the UK would be catastrophic for our efforts to crack down on terrorism and for our efforts to monitor these networks worldwide.
For those of us who don't understand why it's so critical to share intelligence, why is that important, Lindsey?
Well, it's important. I mean, if we look at where a majority of terrorist attacks have been, they've been in Europe. A lot of them have been in the UK. A lot of that, I think, is due to the fact that the Muslim community there is disenfranchised, isn't integrated the way it is in the United States. But the result being that the majority of the threats to the United States, likely those actors and those players are in Europe. So we rely on their intelligence collection capabilities on the ground, and we completely rely on them sharing that information with us so that we can monitor these individuals, see if they're ever coming to the United States, see who their contacts are in the United States. Without that sharing and liaison relationship, our effort to fight terrorism would be greatly, greatly hindered.
Speaking of fighting terrorism, talk us through the terror networks in Europe. Police have already reportedly arrested dozens of people in the Manchester case. They're expected to make even more arrests. How does Europe's terror networks form? Why are they so sophisticated?
I think it's not necessarily that they're sophisticated, but as I said, we have a disenfranchised community here. It's not to say that local and MI5, local law enforcement are not monitoring these communities. I think they are. But there are certainly a lot of, in the UK, in Europe, homegrown terrorists, people who have come over from war-torn, disenfranchised areas, and they have no opportunity there. They're not integrated into society. They turn to anger. They have no, I would say that, you know, to harken back to President Trump, I don't usually want to steal words from President Trump, but they are, in a sense, evil losers. These are people who do not have things going well for them. These are the kind of people that will target youth. And so I think it's not necessarily a matter of them being sophisticated. It's more a matter of them falling through the cracks. Now, that is to say, this investigation is progressing very quickly. We've seen a number of crackdowns. I think the threat level being reduced is an indication, not that the investigation is over, but that the investigation is being very successful, notwithstanding the leaks.
I couldn't help but notice here in New York on the subways, outside the train station, there is definitely a heavier presence. People are actually checking bags at the subways. I hadn't seen that in a long time. I want to ask you, even though the folks at NYPD I talked to say there's no intelligence indicating there's some sort of attack that could be coming to New York City, when you see an attack like this happen in Europe and people are talking about how many times it's happened repeatedly over the past year, what do you worry about as a former intelligence official back here in the homeland?
I frankly worry about the damage that's been done, as I said, to our intelligence sharing relationships. We have an administration in place that has shown basically very little regard for our own intelligence community and very little regard for longstanding protocol between us and our allies about sharing intelligence. So what I really worry about is that we might be cut off. Our main focus is making sure that these people do not travel to the United States, and also that these sort of networks don't develop within the United States. We are physically further removed from the UK, but at the same time, we rely, as I said, greatly on that relationship. They're the ones who have these communities that are very active within the UK, and we need to have all that intelligence.
Lindsey Moran, thank you so much for joining us, Lindsey.
Thank you.